Hello friends, today on the landing point, the glowing dust. The year is 1891. A young woman boards a train in Warsaw, Poland. It is bound for Paris. She's traveling fourth class. She barely has enough money to pay for the ticket, let alone a warm coat to fend off the bitter winter cold. To stay warm on the unforgiving wooden bench of the rail car, she wears every single piece of clothes she owns. Her name is Mania. Mania possesses a brilliant, burning intellect. But back home in Russian-occupied Poland, the gates to the university are padlocked to her. Why? Because authorities strictly forbid women from attending. Refusing to accept defeat, Mania had made a solemn pact with her older sister. Mania worked grueling hours as a governess, suffering through the indignities of serving wealthy families, sending every penny she earned to Paris to fund her sister's medical degree. Now, finally, it's Mania's turn. She enrolls in the Sorbonne in Paris. She lives in a tiny, unheated attic. She survives on a diet of buttered bread and tea. She was so completely absorbed in her physics and math equations that she would sometimes forget to eat, fainting from sheer starvation right there in the library. But her relentless drive caught the eye of a quiet, brilliant scientist named Pierre. They became lab partners, and soon after, they became husband and wife. The scientific establishment didn't think much of them. They certainly wouldn't give them a proper laboratory. Instead, the university offered them a damp, drafty, abandoned dissection shed with a dirt floor. It also had a skylight that leaked when it rained. It was a miserable little shed. It was in this miserable little shed that Mania and Pierre began to investigate a strange, heavy black rock as a pitch blende. They believed there was something hidden deep inside, something invisible, something powerful. For 4 agonizing years, Mania stood in the freezing shed, wielding an iron rod almost as big as she was, physically stirring a massive boiling vat of toxic chemicals. She hauled heavy sacks of ore, breathing in noxious fumes, slowly boiling down literal tons of rock to find just a microscopic trace of the mystery element. One evening, they walked back to the dark shed and saw it. The test tubes lining the wood table were glowing. They emitted a faint, beautiful, fairy-like blue light. Mania had done the impossible. She had discovered an entirely new element. Then she discovered another one. She became the first woman to ever win the Nobel Prize. Then the first person in history to win a second Nobel Prize in a different scientific field. But here's the tragedy behind the triumph. That beautiful, glowing blue dust that Maya so loved, the dust that she used to carry around in her pockets and keep by her bedside night table, was highly radioactive. The very discovery that secured her immortal legacy was quietly, systematically destroying her body. She passed away from aplastic anemia, brought on by decades of massive radiation exposure. In fact, the little girl from Warsaw gave so much of her work that even today, over a century later, her original laboratory notes are still dangerously radioactive, that they are kept in a lead box. If you want to read them, you have to wear protective gear and sign a liability waiver. Her given name was Maria Skłodowska, but history remembers her as Marie Curie. And whether you realize it or not, this is The Landing Point. Thank you for watching today, The Landing Point. Our stories come out Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so you can always catch our latest story. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Roadrunner Real Estate. They're a full-service real estate company that can help you with both your real estate, residential and commercial needs, both buying and selling and leasing for the commercial side. If you haven't done so already, please go out to our YouTube page and subscribe so you can get our latest stories that come out. If you want our latest updates, please go to our Facebook page. and follow and like that. And then for those of you that enjoy just listening to stories when you're out on the drive, we do have our podcast too that you can hear the same stories. Thank you for listening to today's story, and we'll catch you next time.